Are you struggling with church hurt? In this video, I'm joined by Aaron Daigle, who shares his story of healing from church hurt and how you can do the same.
You were in an abusive relationship, and like seeing that, like acknowledging that, when I started to see, no, this was a narcissist, this is a sociopath that you were in a relationship with.
Listen, I know a lot of people have been hurt by the church. Maybe you felt rejected, ignored, or you felt like you didn't belong. And it's hard to trust again after walking through this sort of pain. In this video, you're going to find Aaron's powerful story.
If I could change something, I would go back, and instead of siding with my pastor, I would definitely side with my wife and tell my pastor, like, you will never be allowed to speak about my wife like that to me. You can bash her with your friends, but you're not going to bash her to me.
And how he walked through some struggles with church hurt and ultimately found healing, and how it'll help you find hope for your future too.
I went through about 5 years, the tail end of being in church. I had a lead pastor, and then I was the sort of the administrative pastor running small groups, the Spanish church, prayer, everything under his ministry in our local church. And we had a great relationship. He was a father figure to me. He was everything. I mean, I went to him with all questions, and just I adored him. The last 5 years of that, though, things took a turn for the worse. He had got in his head that my wife and I were not being loyal, that we were out, to sabotage his church or his ministry. But I don't know exactly, but it took a very nasty turn. I share a lot of the details on the YouTube videos, not as much as I think I'm going to share in the book ultimately that I put out on it. Man, to be honest, dude, I sat on it for years. I have been 6.5 years out of that church, and
Wow.
I was scared, bro. I was scared to talk about it, scared to talk about, the fact that I was hurt in church, because I felt like, man, doors are going to close. Pastors aren't going to invite us. Podcasters aren't going to want us on their show. Because like in the Christian world, you don't talk about the fact that you were hurt in church.
Right.
So finally, I just felt led. I got some encouragement for some friends, and I shared more of the details on the videos, and just been taking wherever the Lord leads us from there, ever since, bro.
What was the paradigm for you that caused you to kind of go from this point of you've been silent about it? I don't want to say much. It could cost me a reputation or open doors or whatever, to being able to finally get to that place where you're like, you know what? I've got to speak about this now.
Hearing how many people are going through it. When it all blew up, I sat in my house for 6 weeks. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't have no church, no pastor. I was depressed. I'm not naturally prone to depression. And I had no direction. Like the whole world that I knew was ripped out from under me. And
Wow.
I felt very alone, but then there's no resources. Like, where do you go? Who do you go talk to? And I would look for help. And the only thing I found, which was a very solid resource, was The Bait of Satan. But
Yeah,
that was
it's a
sort
good
of
book.
that's written in the context of whenever like your heart like needs to be right with God, and you like it gave me something, but it wasn't everything that I needed. And started talking with other people traveling, and I'm hearing, I went through this, or I'm not in church anymore. I hate God because of this experience. And I said, wow, like I'm not the only one. There's other people dealing with this, and it needs to be talked about.
How did you guys start that path to healing? Like, what was it for you that got you to this place where, you recognize what had been done with you? You're out of the ministry at that point, if I understand your story correctly. How did you guys start to pick the pieces back up and heal some of those scars?
Yeah. So when we left, like I said, I was 6 weeks just in the house, sitting in a chair in the dark room. Like, I mean, I was low. Um, and my father-in-law, who's a pastor, kept telling me, he says, you need to go to your presbyter, who would be like a bishop in the Catholic Church, just sort of a leader over a section of pastors. And he says, you need to go tell him what happened. And I was resistant. I said, I'm not going, because then I have to explain what happened to with my former pastor. I'm not going to shed him in any negative light. And he was very insistent. And I just refused to do it. And out of sheer desperation, I went to a professional therapist
Okay.
and to the presbyter. So I went to both men the same week, and I had an outline of basically the whole story in like a 30-minute recap to give them context, and just said, like, what do I do? What's going on? The therapist helped tremendously, because he pointed out, you were in an abusive relationship, and like seeing that, like acknowledging that, when I started to see, this was a narcissist. This is a sociopath that you were in a relationship with. Because I was internalizing this. It's like, is it my fault? What did I do wrong? Did I touch the Lord's anointed? Did I offend God? That I, and all that internal stuff and the things my pastor told me that I would not succeed without him. But now the results of that is what I'm dealing with. Like the light brought healing.
Let's say there's somebody listening that's recovering from church hurt, and now it's like, okay, I think I'm ready to be vulnerable again, and I'm ready to engage in the ministry. What did that look like for you, and what might that look like for somebody else?
Bro, the revelation of like, okay, it's okay to talk about this and to call it for what it actually is was the number one step, because I was
Yeah.
so afraid to say it. Like I felt like if I talk about church hurt, I'm the problem. If I
Mm,
say that my pastor abused me, then it's me who was the one who caused all this. And
right.
so you have to reveal in order to heal. Like, what did I
Mm.
go through? You have to acknowledge this, and that's key. I know it's so simple, but like in my case, man, I sat for too long not naming it. Once you're ready, like you asked, take that. How do you take that step? You sort of got to challenge yourself. You have to give yourself time. You just can't give yourself forever.
Hey, thanks so much for watching this. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe to the channel by clicking here, or you can catch another episode right over here. Have a great day.